Daniel Hayes was doing mental math at 11 p.m. rent due in 4 days, $80 short. If he picked up a weekend shift at the diner, he could cover it and maybe, just maybe, afford Lily's inhaler refill. His 7-year-old daughter was asleep on a neighbor's sofa right now, her breath slightly wheezy in the dry apartment air. He hated leaving her there. But a single dad with a bad knee and a high school diploma didn't have the luxury of choice. He dragged his mop across the 42nd floor of Apex Holdings and tried not to think about how tired he was. Then the night manager caught him in the locker room. Top floor needs a sweep. Boardroom bins. Don't touch the main office. Get in. Get out. The 50th floor felt like a different planet. Thick charcoal carpet. Warm lighting. Air that smelled of leather and money. Daniel emptied the boardroom quickly and moved down the corridor toward the final door. Vivian Hart, Chief Executive Officer. The door was unlatched. A thin line of light bled underneath it. He hesitated. If he left a full bin, he'd be docked pay. If he disturbed something, he'd be fired. He pushed the door open. He expected an empty office. Vivian Hart was standing 10 feet away. She wasn't behind her desk. She was in the middle of the room, her silk blouse half open, her hands twisted behind her back, struggling with the clasps of a rigid medical corset. Thick canvas and metal straps locked around her torso. Beneath it, her ribs were covered in deep purple bruises. Daniel stopped breathing. Vivian turned. She didn't scream. She simply looked at him, cold, cornered, calculating. "Get out," she said. He ran. He spent the entire bus ride home certain he was finished. Badge deactivated by morning, cardboard box by afternoon. But the next night, his badge flashed green and Frank pointed at the ceiling. 50th floor. "They're expecting you." Vivian Hart sat behind her glass desk like nothing had happened. She told him everything in a flat, clinical voice. A helicopter crash 4 months ago. 3 fractured vertebrae. 4 shattered ribs. The press thought she was on a retreat in Kyoto. The board thought she'd had a minor ski accident. If the truth came out, the shareholders would invoke a medical clause and vote her out by Friday. She slid a folder across the desk. She'd run a background check on him that morning. Every debt, every doctor's bill, every struggle laid out in black and white. Daniel felt his face flush with anger. "I need a handler," she said before he could speak. "Someone discreet. Someone who needs this enough to stay quiet. You drive the car, carry the bags, stand in the corner of boardrooms with my medication. When my back gives out, you hold me upright so the cameras don't see me fall." "What's the catch?" Daniel asked. $3,000 a week. Full medical insurance for you and your daughter. Effective immediately. The numbers hit him like a physical blow. That was more than 3 months of wages. That was a new apartment. That was the expensive inhalers, the specialist visits, everything he had been clawing toward for 5 years. "When do I start?" he asked. The transition was violent. Wednesday, he was scrubbing floors. Friday, he was standing beside an armored SUV in a suit that cost more than his car. Their dynamic was not friendly. Vivian was ruthless and demanding. Daniel was blunt and didn't pretend otherwise. They argued constantly, but he learned her cues. When her knuckles went white gripping a table edge, when her voice dropped dangerously quiet in a meeting, when she needed the medication, and when she needed someone to simply stand close enough to catch her. The shift happened in the 3rd week. After a brutal 4-hour dinner, Vivian's legs gave out in the foyer of her penthouse. Daniel caught her. He carried her to the bedroom, knelt in front of her, and forced open a jammed clasp on her brace that had been digging into her broken ribs for hours. When it finally released, she pressed her forehead against his shoulder and stayed there. He didn't move. He let her breathe. When she finally sat back, a folded piece of paper had fallen from his pocket. A crayon drawing, a tall man in blue and a little girl with a green balloon. "Is the insurance covering her treatments?" Vivian asked quietly. "She got the good inhalers Monday," Daniel said. "She hasn't wheezed in 3 days." Vivian looked at him for a long moment. "Take Sunday off," she said. "Take her to the park." 6 months later, the brace was gone. The merger had closed. Daniel had a desk on the 49th floor and a title nobody questioned. On a sunny Friday, he drove Lily home in a sensible sedan, her breathing easy, chattering happily about dinosaurs. His phone buzzed in the cup holder. "Take her for ice cream. Put it on the corporate card." Daniel laughed. A short, real, unguarded laugh. He tossed the phone onto the passenger seat and turned on the radio. The city didn't look so terrifying anymore. If this story hit you right in the chest, smash that like button. It really helps this channel grow. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a story like this one. And drop a comment below. What would you have done if you walked into that office and saw what Daniel saw? Let's talk about it in the comments.